Hey, welcome back to Tremblant 435, and this is the story of how I raced my first ever 10K in 30... Wait, you thought I was going to tell you already? No, you'll have to wait to the end of the episode for that. However, to get to that point, I'll have to go back about 2 weeks to when I first moved back from Vancouver to Ontario. So in the past 2 weeks, I moved 5 times, from Vancouver to Toronto to Niagara for an overnight vacation, then to Toronto to Collingwood, and back to Waterloo to university. And throughout all of this left my training in shambles, playing catch up and trying to fit it around vacation and spending time with family. However, through all of this, I want to focus on 2 key workouts that I did. The first was 3 by a mile at 10K pace, 3 by 800 at 5K pace, and 3 by 200 at mile pace. And the second was a 20K long run with 20 minutes at tempo. These 2 workouts I tried to do in Collingwood to prep me for my 10K. So going into both of these workouts with the combination of being in a new city, having my training be a mess, and there being a huge headwind, I wasn't feeling great. 2 minutes into both reps, I stopped. They felt way harder than it should have been, and I didn't think I could finish the reps. So I stood by the road for 5 minutes and negotiated with myself whether to go home or finish the reps, or just finish the runs as mileage. And eventually I decided that I would try the rep at the given pace for a minute, maybe 2, and if I couldn't hold it, then say that I'll go home. So I tried, and soon enough, 1 minute turned into 2, which turned into 3, which turned into the rep done at my desired pace. At the end of these workouts, I was both frustrated and amazed that I was able to push through this mental turmoil. And I think this happens to a lot of us, where there's this mental battle between trying to push yourself mentally as well as physically and not trying to burn yourself out on one end or the other. But in this case, I had a lot to learn in terms of how to push myself mentally. And this really came in handy in the race 2 weeks later. So now, going back to the race, I raced this at the Sporting Life 10K, which is in Toronto, which is right near where I grew up. It races down Yonge Street, so it has a total elevation loss of 80 meters and only 2 small hills, one at the start and one near the end. So this course is extremely fast. I knew going into this I wanted to try and run sub 36. I did my practice reps at 3:36 per kilometer, which is exactly 36-minute 10K pace. And I knew, given the course profile, that this could be possible given my recent training times. So to preface, I've never raced a 10K before, so I have no idea how to pace myself or how it would feel. I just wanted to try and even split it, so go at 3:36 and then finish at 3:36 if possible. Saturday I picked up my bib. I didn't carb load for this race. You don't really need carbs or gels during the race because it's only 10K, so you'll be mostly running off of the glycogen already in your body. I also didn't taper for this. I only had 1 day of lighter training with an easy swim and an easy run that day. To go over my race kit, I raced in my Tracksmith half tights, my Nike Aeroswift tank top, my CLE hat, some socks I got from Mint in New York, and my Saucony Endorphin Elites, which are getting on the older side. I think they have about 300 to 400 kilometers on them, so I'm thinking about getting a new pair. I'm looking at the Adidas Adios Pro 4s, but if you have any recommendations, let me know. And then the night before, I knew I had to get to bed around 6, so I tried to get into bed by 9, but really got to bed at 9:30 because my parents got home and I wanted to spend some time with them. All right, welcome to my childhood home. Night before the race, I think I am feeling incredibly grateful and lucky because this is the first race I've had in a while where I am not sick, no injuries, no nerves. I am just excited to race, and I have now no excuses to not perform well. My parents will watch the race and my brother will be racing it in his own time. So I think I'm grateful to have community at a race again. This is only getting me more excited for Tremblant, to see where my fitness is at and see how far I can push myself. Join me along for the ride tomorrow and catch you on the other side. And so going into race day, I woke up at 6, had 1.5 pieces of toast with Nutella. My race start was at 7:30, and it's right by my house, which is really convenient because it means I can just poop at home and do all my business at home and then just warm up over to the start line because it's only a 15-minute run. The weather for this race was perfect. It was 6 degrees, sunny, and even a little bit of a tailwind. I knew that sub 36 would put me in the top 70 from last year, so I pushed my way to the front of the course. 7:30 comes around and race start. I wanted to start up around 3:40 per kilometer to warm up, but the downhill made it a little bit hard to pace. I heard the people around me talking about going 37 or 38, so I knew that I had to pass a lot of people to get up to the 36-minute crew. I saw my family around kilometer 1. This was on top of the first hill, and then the rest was downhill until about 7 kilometers. I settled into the next few kilometers at around 3:30 pace. I wasn't sure how much to trust my GPS because of the tall buildings in downtown Toronto, and there were no kilometer markers up until 5K. But coming into 5K, I saw that I split 5K in 17:30, which was mind-blowing because my 5K PR from last summer was 18:57. However, this meant that I was going a little bit too fast, but I didn't know if the downhill from the first 7 kilometers would allow me to finish at this pace. It still felt pretty steady, and so I continued at 3:30s for the next 2 kilometers going downhill. And so at 7 kilometers, the course leveled out, and this is where I started to feel it. At 7 kilometers, after running downhill the entire race, my quads were on fire from the impact that downhill running puts on you. I had a GPS failure from running under the expressway, and there was a hill at the end of the kilometer. So I came out of this rep at 3:43, and I started to feel the race slip away from me. Knowing I had 3 kilometers left to run, I really didn't think I'd be able to hold on to it. However, I started to reminisce to 2 weeks ago, and I knew that I had been here before. I knew what it felt like to go into a rep and not think it was possible to finish the last few minutes of it. I knew that I was able to negotiate with myself and continue pushing further than I thought. So I didn't see it as 12 more minutes at 10K pace, which was an impossible task for me at the moment, but rather just give my body a shot and allow myself to push for 1 more minute, and then we'll see where it goes. Lo and behold, I was able to finish. I saw the finish line with a few hundred meters to go, sprinted a little bit, and then finished in 35:47.
This race, and each and every one of you taking part, so appreciate that. Strong finishing kicks put across the line.
35:45. We'll see official. I didn't cool down like a bad boy. Just took the TTC home and had lunch with my family and tried to unpack what it meant that I ran at 35:47. My little brother also ran his first 10K in 53 minutes, which was incredible. I am really proud of him, and I'm just glad to be able to share the joys of road running with someone else. So now looking forward, what does this mean for Tremblant that I ran a tune-up race in 35:47? Well, first, I will acknowledge that this course is a total cheat code. Losing all this elevation means that this is more indicative of a 36:15 on a flat course. So I'll be using a 36:15 in all my pace calculations for my half Ironman pace. Going back to that old rule of thumb I mentioned before, using your standalone marathon pace as your half Ironman pace, when I plug a 36:15 into VDOT calculator, this puts my marathon pace at 2:47 or 2:48, which is a 1:24 half marathon. So going forward, I will be pacing myself at a 1:24 half marathon in training, as if this will be my half Ironman pace, which is around 4 minutes per kilometer. And so this is all incredibly encouraging. I never once thought I'd be able to run a 35:47. This put me 74th out of 20,000 runners, which is crazy. However, I think the main takeaway I'm taking from this race is not my fitness, but rather the importance of all types of workouts, successful or failed, and the benefits that can come from just giving yourself a chance, whether you think a workout is worth completing or not. And I hope that this motivates me in the future to give it my all for each workout, no matter how I feel or no matter how I see it going. And I hope this motivates you to do the same for your workouts. I'm excited. We've got 5 weeks till race day, starting to get everything ready, and I'm feeling excited but also nervous. So thanks for tuning in again, and I will see you in the next one.